Okay, we want to work with some fractions again also, just to make sure that you feel comfortable with those. Now remember, especially if it's something, a nice fraction, something that you can convert over to a decimal very easily. I by far think that's the easiest way to do it. So when I see 1 and 1/2, I would go ahead and write that as 1.5 tons. And again, let's write that over 1. Now, obviously, we don't want tons because we're converting, but we can't go from tons directly to ounces. We don't have a conversion for that. So we can go, though, from tons to pounds. We know that there are 2,000 pounds in 1 ton. That's our conversion factor. So tons will cancel top and bottom, and now we have pounds. But we don't want pounds. So I'm going to put it on bottom so it will cancel. And we're going to put ounces on top because there is a conversion between pounds and ounces. There are 16 ounces in 1 pound. And now our pounds will cancel top and bottom. And we have ounces left, which is exactly what we wanted. So now we can do the math. So 1.5 times 2,000 times 16 would give us 48,000 ounces. Now, if you wanted to, if you felt better about using the fractions rather than the decimal, you could do that also. Now, we would need to convert 1.5 into a improper fraction. So we would need to write that as 2 times 1 would be 2, plus 1 would be 3 over 2. So we could literally write that as 3 over 2 with our tons here. And then we could do the exact same thing that we just did. Put our tons on bottom, pounds on top, 2,000 pounds in 1 ton. Now that will cancel our tons. And then again, we don't want pounds, so let's put that on bottom. And we're going to convert over to ounces. There are 16 ounces in 1 pound. So now our pounds will cancel, and we're down to ounces. Now we could literally do this in one step. We could say this is 3, and then we could say divided by 2, which is going to give you 1.5 anyway. And then multiply by 2,000, and then multiply by 16. You will end up getting the exact same thing, no matter whether you work with the fraction or the decimal. I think the decimals are probably easier for us to look at, but either way, you'll get the same thing. Here, let's try this using the decimal again. We have 2 3/4 miles, but the only downside is you have to know what that decimal equivalent is, or you could always do 3 divided by 4 on your calculator, and it would give you 0.75. So here we would have 2.75 miles over 1. Now we don't want miles, we're going to inches. So we don't know how many inches are in a mile, but we can go to feet because we have a conversion for that. There are 5,280 feet in 1 mile. So now our miles will cancel top and bottom. And we don't want feet, so we're going to put that on bottom. And we're going to go to inches. There is a conversion between inches and feet. There are 12 inches in every foot. So now our feet will cancel, and we're left with inches as our units. It's exactly what we wanted, so that looks good. Now we can do 2.75 times 5280 times 12, and we should get 174,240 inches. Now that's reasonable. If you think about it, 2 3/4 miles is a whole bunch of inches. So always kind of step back whenever you're done working these problems and just ask yourself, does that seem reasonable?